everyone, welcome to Vegas Staged. I'm Trina Larmony, and joining me today we have Jason Rojas and Alex Pearl, our resident real estate agents here in Las Vegas market, pun intended. Guys, tell me something. What the hell is going on in Las Vegas? What's going on in the market right now?
It's crazy for sure.
It's about as hot as it is outside right now, so.
Oh, hot meaning good. The market's good right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely sales have definitely gone up. Inventory is lower, so definitely has become a bit of a seller's market.
Okay.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing situations where, once again, people are putting multiple offers on properties just because there are not enough sellers and too many buyers.
So that sounds like it's not such a good deal for a buyer. What happens to buyers in this market?
Actually, good question, because not completely out of the question for a buyer to get a home in this market. Interest rates are actually pretty low and very competitive. So if you're in a good position financially and it's the right time for you, this is actually a good time to buy because interest rates are historically low. So.
Okay.
I mean, of course, first they call us, but after that,
Of course they call you first if they want to buy a home. That's a given. That's a given. You're going to get the call first, and then what do they got to do? Okay, got it. Let me ask you this. I'm a buyer. What's the first thing I need to do?
we're going to sit down and we're going to talk to several different lenders. We have connections with lenders we've worked with in the past. Super experienced, and so we sit down, we have a conversation. They take a quick look at your financials. If you decide that that's something that you want to do, they kind of take over from there, get the info that they need, kind of give us a range about where you're going to be in terms of price range, and that's where we start our search. And typically in about 24 to 48 hours after the lender has had a chance to look at your financials, they'll have an idea of definitely where we can start looking price range wise, and we start our search.
And it's important in this phase is to identify what this particular buyer's needs are, what they're looking for in their new home, and find out if this is the right time for them to make this next step.
Oh, so you might even suggest to them to hold off?
Possibly, but right now, I mean, even though it's a seller's market, it's still a good time for buyers just because the interest rates are the lowest that they've ever been.
Okay.
So, I mean, for example, we have several investors who typically would purchase properties cash, but they're actually going through the process of using a lender and financing just because to them it's free money.
Oh, because the rates are so low.
Because the rates are so low.
Okay, I
exactly.
understand.
So really people can afford more house. So the idea is just to be able to get them a house that they really want, and typically there's a little bit of relationship building. So over the years, when we have connections and relationships, and you reach out, and another agent sees who they're working with, that's beneficial, especially when it's such a competitive market like it is now. But going back to the lender and the financing, it's really you can't go wrong.
Okay.
That's kind of what we would encourage, only because we're not sure where the interest rates will be.
Okay.
It's supposed to stay steady at least through the election,
Right.
and through the end of the year. So for the most part, it's a good time to take a good look and see if it's the right time to purchase a home.
Check them finances.
Yeah.
Step one.
Okay, got it. Okay, well, it sounds like...
And understand the buyer, of course, right?
Of
Understand the
course.
buyer and their financial situation and what they want to do.
All right. Okay, let's say this. A seller in this market, it sounds like the world's their oyster. It sounds like they don't really have to do much except wake up in the morning. What does a seller really need to do to sell their home for the highest amount they can sell it for, to sell it as quickly as possible?
Right. And with the least amount of stress. And
Absolutely.
so typically, that's our forte. We try and take as much of the stress out of it for a seller, because initially, if you do it right, it can feel a little stressful for them leading up to preparing a home for sale. We always tell people, of course, declutter. The more that they put away, they're already going to move. They might as well start packing their items. I always say, think of it as money in your pocket. The more you put away, the more money you're going to make, only because when a home is traditionally cleaner, more like a canvas, it allows a future potential buyer to come in and imagine their stuff in that space.
Sure.
So that's kind of where we walk through it, and we're always really careful to make sure a seller doesn't feel like we're judging them, right? Because people get really insecure about, okay, they're inviting you into their home. Some people don't ever have guests, so it feels kind of foreign to have us come in and walk around, look around their things, and they kind of feel judged. So we tell them, hey, this is not about how you live and your lifestyle and your items and your style, really. This is about preparing it for what a potential buyer is looking for in this day and age.
Being realistic in the market,
Okay.
understanding the value of their home, and then preparing the home for the market would be the kind of first steps.
It sounds like you guys really do take a more personal approach than your average real estate agent to the individual that you're working with. It's not just about contracts and documents.
No, it's much more, absolutely. Definitely very compassionate, very hands-on approach, but also very objective and consultative.
Right.
Like I had said, understanding what their motives are and what they're trying to accomplish, but then also understand that these are all humans that are moving their house and home, and a lot of times their families and their friends or their animals and whatever else they might have. This is a big move. This is a big financial step for a lot of them. So yeah,
and
absolutely.
really, it's true. It is real estate, but there's a story behind every family. Every single transaction is not just about the paper or the numbers. It is because it's important to them. Whether it's the first condo or it's a luxury listing, the numbers mean the same, whoever the buyer or seller is. But especially for a seller, you know, we try and understand what it is that they need. You know, the number is always what they walk away from. You know, why are they moving? You know, if they're upsizing or downsizing, are they bringing a different generation in, whether it's a grandparent or a child's coming back into the home. So really to fully understand what their situation is, and then we come in and how do we do that? How do we make you the most amount of money that we possibly can? And a lot of people, especially now with the environment, they don't want a lot of people coming in through their homes. So what we do to really expedite that process in terms of getting ready beforehand, hitting the market, and getting an offer at a great price.
Preparing that way.
Really within days. Our last few, we've hit the market. We put in more work up front, 2 weeks to get it ready, and then when we introduce it to the market, within hours, 48 hours or less, we've gotten an offer.
And she made a great point that whether it's a $50,000 condo or $1 million listing, we do the same process from start to finish with every single customer, client, and friend that we work with. So we stage every property as much as we possibly can, professional photography, and all the details, whether you're, like I said, $50,000 or $1 million property.
You're throwing a lot at me that I wanted to talk about. Let me back up a minute. Alex, Jason just mentioned staging. Please explain to me, what is staging? What's it all about?
Well, that's kind of our forte. In addition to, just handling the buy and the sell, we really go in and we go over and above, and we take a property and we highlight its best features. So staging is really, for us, making sure the property house, condo, luxury, whatever we're talking about, that it looks the very best that it can. Kind of like a mini facelift, if you will. So when we have a homeowner that's still living in the house, that's a little bit different because, of course, we have to take into consideration if there's kids or pets versus an empty, vacant property where we have a blank slate. But all in all, we come in and we dress the house because a lot of times people have trouble visualizing spaces, and also if they've been out looking at 10 different homes, everything starts to look like an empty box. So we give the room and the home a personality and some life, because what we're really looking for is to make an emotional connection. What I like to call what we do is pop staging, because it's really the items, the decor, the furniture is what's going to appeal to the most amount of people right about now. It's not a specific genre or a theme. It's just something that gives people an opportunity to see what a room looks like, the spacing. When they walk into a room and they see a couch with a side chair and a lamp and a table and a candle and a blanket thrown over, they can envision, not that how many times we have time to walk into, on a weekend maybe to sit and enjoy that, but it's the idea that they could possibly, at some point enjoy the space in that capacity. So what we're really looking for is to invoke a really strong emotional connection when a potential buyer walks through the house.
I hear you saying the market's on fire for sellers, right? How on earth are they selling these homes in the pandemic when, if I'm not mistaken, there was just a mandate that came out that you can't even show a home that people are living in? So what's going on? How are you dealing with that?
Very carefully. Very carefully, yeah. It's definitely been an up and down, kind of everyday changing kind of situation, but definitely taking precautions and following all the guidelines, that are out there.
So very carefully,
more,
just carefully. We definitely, when we come into a home, especially one that is, so I was going to clarify, first of all. So we can't really show a home that has a tenant in it. So that's off limits now.
Okay.
But a home that is owner occupied, with the owner's permission, we can show.
Okay.
So we just make sure that we wear masks
Right.
For
when
showings,
we enter.
booties for the
Yeah,
showings,
booties.
hand sanitizer and cleaners at the house ready for the showings to come through. Doors open and available to walk through, so there's minimal touching of handles throughout the house. Lights are on, prepared for those types of showings.
Yeah.
So that it definitely makes it a lot easier and turnkey for a buyer's agent to come through and show that property.
Yeah, I typically will be the only one to touch a surface so that it keeps both the seller and the buyer, a little bit more safe. So they're not touching all sorts of surfaces because it is a fear. It's a concern that, they have germs in the house.
Right,
so that's how we do it.
Okay.
And once we get past that, honestly, things have been somewhat business as usual. So it's really just managing those emotions of, the pandemic and those needs, and then beyond that, it's being able to show the property and continue business, as usual.
I mean, initially there was a little bit more resistance
Okay.
to showing a home that had, a homeowner in it, but now pretty much it's business as usual in terms of we can come and see and we wear masks. Some of them ask us to wear gloves, and of course we do whatever it takes to make the homeowner feel comfortable in that situation.
What about, is there not some sort of virtual tours that you can also post online?
Absolutely.
Okay, it's a great question.
Depending on what side of it you're on, so if we're talking as a seller's agent right now, that goes with the photography that we put out with the listing. That's the virtual tours that as your listing agents, we make sure that's a part of the marketing. You have virtual tours, that you have an online branded tour, that there is professional photography with our staging involved. Absolutely. It's a huge value, and that's how we were able to show these properties to the best of their ability.
And for the most part, people aren't just looking for the sake of, they're not looky-loos. That's the other thing. At least for now, the people who are going out, they definitely are more qualified. So they're just a more serious buyer anyway. Whereas, this time last year, people might be bored and on the weekend say, let's go look at homes, and they would just kind of bob around and they'd be like, oh, we're not really quite ready. The people that we're taking out now are definitely ready to pull the trigger. So it's a better relationship in terms of going out and showing these homes for both buyers and sellers.
Okay, wonderful. I want to ask you a question because you touched on this earlier and you just said something else that I want to ask. You mentioned that you stage every property. And you also just said that you do a virtual tour of every property. Is that standard for a real estate agent? I know that's not free. I know that's not cheap. So is that a standard thing that real estate agents do?
Just the good ones, really.
Good answer.
So
no, definitely the staging is definitely not standard.
Okay.
It's definitely something that we've done from the beginning that has really become just our staple. And we can't walk away from it, and it's something that really adds value to what we do.
Absolutely. And this was the philosophy, really. We have so many model home communities here in the Valley.
Right.
Everywhere you turn, there's a model home. And who doesn't like looking at model homes, right?
I sure do.
I steal some of my best ideas. I can imitate like nobody's business. So really, a lot of buyers have gotten spoiled by being able to walk through, an amazing looking model home.
Right.
So being able to take that experience and bring it to a resale home has really paid off.
Yeah.
I mean, numerically, we can quantify that our staging will help a buyer make anywhere between 3% up to 12% more.
Wow.
In terms of the selling price above the normal comps and in a very expedited amount of time.
And days on market.
Yeah, days on
definitely,
market.
definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So, I mean, I have actually a handful of other agents who will pay us to stage their properties. They won't hit the market without ours. Yeah, of course, our listings get for priority, but if not, so they're paying. They of course have to pay retail, and one of the benefits that we do for our clients is, they get a discount and they can roll it into their, our negotiated commission rate, and we roll it in that way, so it's no cash out of their pocket.
Okay.
It's
I
an
see.
overall package deal.
Right.
That really they can't beat.
Right.
So that's
Well, I'm glad we discussed that because you guys happened to bring a video today of you staging a beautiful home, an actual high-end listing. Am I right?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it was a beautiful home, and it was a great canvas to begin with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are some of our favorites, of course, where the paint is fresh and the
Some are a
floors
little more
look
ready
great.
than others.
Yes,
Yeah.
because we've come in, where other properties not so much, but this one was a fun one. We definitely had a
great.
good time coming through here and just adding a little bit more of a personal touch and appeal to a potential buyer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So.
can't wait to see it. I can't wait for you guys to walk me through it. Don't go anywhere. After the break, we're going to take a look at staging done correctly. Welcome back, everyone, to Vegas Stage. I'm Trina Larmony, and I'm joined here by Jason Rojas and Alex Pearl. We are actually going to get right into a video that Jason explains to me is fire about how to stage a home. So we're really excited to get going, so let's go ahead and roll that tape. So this room looks a little bare.
A little sterile is what we call it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no personality. So this is kind of where we come in, and we're going to add the layers to a room. First, before what you're not seeing before here, we've already determined that the location of the couch is
Carpet,
right.
kind of setting out the foundation to build from. So obviously the rug, the couch are the key components, and then we go from there.
Exactly. So we're going to set the room up. We still want it to flow.
Right.
We'd never want people to walk into a space where they're looking at the back of a chair or the back of a
Cluttered,
couch, right?
yeah.
Or to close things off.
Open walkways.
Exactly. So we've decided that this is the best place for the couch. Then we've added the accents like the tables. Again, we like texture, so they're glass, so that people can see through, and it still creates the feeling of openness to it. From there, we go ahead and we add the textures of the pillows. And as you can see, they're not all the same. We prefer that they're not the same.
Sure.
They're different shapes and sizes, different textures, materials. There's a little contrast. And above all, these are kind of the hot colors right now.
Okay.
Even though so we did utilize the sofa from the seller. We thought it was a nice piece. It was a unique color, but then we added the grays, the taupes, the off-whites to the space because that's what everyone really likes. When they're going in, it brings a feeling of calm.
Right.
Versus some of gone are the days where every single room was a different color.
Oh my goodness,
you know,
right.
and
And the carpet, too.
carpet too. Exactly. So it's very streamlined. And then here we're looking at the layers of the curtains.
The height of the curtains, also elongate spaces. We do that in
Oh,
bathrooms.
so it
with-
making the ceiling look taller?
Yeah.
or
Exactly.
something?
This was
Okay.
this was a very high vaulted ceiling. We wanted to make sure that it accented the dramatic. It's really a dramatic entry to this because it's a luxury home that we were taking the time to finish off. So again, we created a frame for the sliding glass door, and the frame was amazing because when you walk through that sliding glass door, you were greeted by a beautiful view of the city.
Right.
It was sitting up on the hill and you could see it. So we opened it up.
Accentuating the best parts of the home.
I was going
really
to say,
calling out
why would those be
features.
closed up? They look amazing. And I do see what you're saying, Alex, about these clear tables. I can see more. The floor looks amazing, and it doesn't hide that.
Right. So as we transition from one room to the next, again, we really try and make sure that all the items coordinate with one another.
Right.
That we're looking at all the details of the home, what are the finishes of that actual room, and what colors and textures can we add to it.
Okay.
Obviously, we'll walk the property as we're doing, and really identify the real key features, kind of like that view we were talking about.
But we're very careful, as you can see from this kitchen. It's beautiful, right? It has a beautiful stainless steel refrigerator and appliances, the light fixtures, the granite. So it already has beautiful features. We don't want to over clutter.
Okay.
We still want people, the potential buyers, to come in and see those features of the home. We're just highlighting them. In this case, for example, there was a light that was out underneath the cabinet. We go and we let our sellers know.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to make sure that all the lights are working in the property, so that's definitely something we want to point out.
What about this white, on the white electrical
Sure,
outlet?
definitely stands out a little bit.
Well, at least you know where to plug in your mixer.
Yeah, in the dark. Yeah.
I mean, depending on the motivation of some of the sellers, you might change that out or have it blend in or not. But most people in this case, they're not going to see that as much as they're going to notice a light bulb that's burned out.
Right.
We're also identifying, again, all the key selling features of the home that go along with that staging that we're doing right now. So looking at all these, like the stove, looking at the blinds on that last image.
Sure.
Understand that it's built-in double ovens, understand that the true value of the home, making sure we're accentuating that.
Sure.
So we are walking through here. This happened to have a formal dining area. And again, it felt a little cold and impersonal.
Okay.
And sometimes it takes a little minute for us to kind of really take the room in.
That actually looks like a boardroom.
Right.
So we weren't sure if we were going to have a meeting or if we were going to have dinner.
Exactly.
So we had to kind of feel that out a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And obviously, bringing a little life into the room, colors, in different phases and different things that really add some life to it.
So we'll bring some symmetry with a little asymmetry sometimes.
Sure.
Yeah.
But again,
Oh my gosh, that pillow changed everything.
I love that pillow. Yeah.
exactly. Now you kind of actually want to stay after, imagine yourself having dinner or brunch and you're going to relax and you're going to kick back and you're going to enjoy the company that you're having, and the meal that you just had with the conversation. So something as little as turning the chairs out even makes it more inviting and welcoming.
Right.
Sometimes opens the space up a little bit as well.
Okay.
Right, exactly.
Ooh, beautiful floors.
This was fun. This was definitely fun. It's a fun way to bring in an accent without actually doing a whole entire room.
Okay.
So once again, we don't,
great bathroom for sure.
we don't want to cover it up. We want to complement the features because it was really a beautiful stonework and inlaid tile work that ran up through the shower feature. So again, different textures, fun. We try and have a little fun, that looked like a fun shag rug.
Yeah.
But you have to have a little fun sometimes, and you can't be too stuffy. So we found this fun rug, and we added that to this guest bathroom.
Okay. I noticed it looks like you're having to bring in the light. The home's beautiful, and I do notice that you seem to be going from room to room, opening up to the outside. I could see the outside is beautiful, and I like that you're doing that.
Even though the homes are beautiful, a lot of our clients don't understand how important lighting is to a space. So we definitely go around and we make sure that all the windows are open and all of the light fixtures, again, have bulbs that are functioning and accent lights as well.
Ooh,
This is a great little office space that they had made
Right.
in the house. So decluttering, that normally would probably have a computer or it's the paperwork and all that. So just decluttering and turning on lights and making sure the room is inviting and definitely void of any extra.
So you're saying if
items.
was there a computer there when you guys moved it?
There was.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
It looked like
Okay.
someone it was a laptop, but they looked like they work out of that space. So
Okay.
yeah, you know, we
So
had
it's a
Oh, yeah, I
functional.
see.
we had to tuck that away, but that fit the area. We thought that you know
Absolutely.
it wasn't an eyesore by any means, and it was able to
Right.
function with what we were doing.
Yeah, here we go with the light. The,
Exactly.
the
The
natural light.
lights, yes.
Now, in this case, it made it a little easier because the view outside the window was attractive. You know, there's greenery and trees.
Sure.
Sometimes there are features about a side window that you don't want to highlight. So in that case, we might not open up the blinds. We'll just turn it so there's some diffused light coming in through the
Okay.
space.
Yes, I'm familiar with that trick. I
Yes.
do it in my own home where there's a brick wall outside.
Right. Oh, and
Oh,
okay,
okay.
so-
What is this now? Could this possibly be something that we would want on the wall when you're selling a home? What if I'm walking through there with my 5-year-old?
Right, right. Exactly. That is an item just like
Yeah.
certain religious pieces. We typically will let a homeowner know, again, it's not a judgment of their art style and things like that. They strictly just need to remove it in case any potential buyer finds it offensive. We
Sure.
don't know.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of sensitivity right now. We certainly don't want to offend anybody.
Right.
So.
Beautiful bathroom.
Was a beautiful piece. And again, we did not overdress this space because we felt like the features of the double sinks, the higher vanities, the light fixtures, they kind of speak for themselves.
Sure.
So we just added a
Yes.
few so you could envision living in the space, perhaps like you've gone to your own spa.
That's exactly what I was
Yeah.
going to say. It looks like a spa to me, and there's nowhere I'd ever be
Right.
that would be more appealing to me than a spa.
Exactly. And even the closets. If our clients have the opportunity and the time, we definitely tell them to start thinning out their spaces. And this is good for 2 reasons. For safety, of course, if a client has, you know, personal items that might be expensive or jewelry or valuable, we don't want to leave those items out. We've never had an issue, but we certainly don't want to tempt fate.
Right.
Additionally, there's something to be said about a well-organized closet. You know, color-coordinated baskets, things in groups.
Okay.
Again, very inviting. It invokes a feeling of welcoming and cozy.
Oh, look, you're wearing those little the pandemic shoes
Right.
thingies.
Yes, we definitely were. We wanted, again, safety first. In addition to that, we always try and take care of our clients' items. Their flooring was laminate, and then the carpet. We want to make sure that we are not tracking in dirt or debris
Sure.
into their home. And again, here we're rearranging the pieces. They kind of just looked. They hadn't been sat in a few weeks.
Right.
We wanted to freshen it up a bit.
Fluff 'em up.
them up.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a
Okay.
great living space that overlooks the city, so I mean it's definitely an undeniable space in the home that needed to definitely be
Yeah.
focused on.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. So, walking back through here was a really generous sized loft, an extra
Wow, that's-
space area. Yeah, it was, and so again, because it was so big, we dressed it
what's
up.
going on there?
So good
Is
point.
that a Jack in the Box? What is
I'm glad you brought that up. Another one of those items, in addition to burnt-out light bulbs, that we often have our clients fix prior to listing, because we don't want to give the potential buyer the idea that we haven't taken care of our home.
Okay.
We know that things happen and things need to be taken care of in the regular maintenance of owning a home. However, we like to take that element away.
What are you guys talking about right now where you're opening these cabinets?
That countertop look was pretty low. This was
Oh, gosh, that is really low.
It was quite. It was a renovation that they didn't, you know, raise the countertop, so it, you know, just kind of stood out a little bit at first, but
didn't notice
it
until
looks
you said
it looks very nice overall. for
Exactly. So because they had spent the time and money, of course, renovating this space with the quartz on the counters and the stonework in the top, we're not going to ask them to invest
Right.
in raising the
new
cabinets.
cabinets.
We'll probably make light a little joke that perhaps it's a guest bathroom. You know, if anyone has children, that the children might use it. But definitely, you know, overall, it's a great space
Right.
that can be it's not a make or break. It's not a deal breaker for a lot of people. So this space was nice. Oh, there we go with
more light bulbs.
This house comes with a disco. That's amazing.
I did say fun. This is Vegas after all. Vegas staged. Disco ball not included. Again, we walk around initially when we are about to pre-list and go live. We'll go and highlight. We'll make a little punch list, nothing overwhelming. Little items that can be taken care of prior to having homeowners or potential homeowners walk through the property.
Okay.
So definitely, there's some spaces that have to be kind of discussed, and whether you put a picture or a mirror or something there,
yeah.
right? So this space was one of those spaces that we kind of had to discuss and kind of figure out what we want to do.
Gotcha. Ooh.
This was a gorgeous glass paneled door that highlighted the frame of the backyard, the pool, the spa. So when we come in, we definitely want to, again, highlight that feature. Because right now, since we are living in our homes so much, spending so much time, this really brings the inside out. It extends the interior living space. With the exception of the days when it's 1,000,000 degrees outside, cooler weather's coming.
This house looks really big. I can imagine opening that and the entire inside becomes 90 degrees.
But soon enough, you open that up, and of course now you've extended your living space. You turn on the fountain, you have a beautiful, fire pit, you enjoy this space on your patio. You just really are enjoying the elements.
I love the layering that you do outdoors as well with the rugs under the furniture. Even though the pavers are beautiful, it does feel like you brought the indoors to the outside. And I'm in the living room area, but it's outside.
Right, exactly.
How amazing is that?
Right. Gone are the days that it's just a strictly a utilitarian space.
Right.
Most homeowners, again, because they are spending more time inside and outside in their homes, we make it feel like an outdoor living room. So here we go with this beautiful pool, the water feature, the sound of the waterfall.
Some of the items, especially with a pool, that we're going to look for pre-listings, we're going to look for calcification on waterfalls. Look for things that might be an issue with the pool. This one was an absolutely beautiful pool area, so it wasn't a lot of maintenance for us. And again, another living space. It's definitely all about creating all these living spaces for people to really envision themselves living there.
I mean, imagine how you feel when you go to a hotel, right? That's the idea. You want to have your own living space, and you want to make it feel like it's that way.
Because of the disco and
Exactly.
So, little seating area out there in the grass as well. Some really nice little
Are those
lounge.
little hammocks?
Yeah, they're like a nice little hammock style chair.
But what you're not seeing are leaves, right? Leaves and debris laying around, because I mean, it could get windy here, and very quickly it can look like it's dusty and abandoned. So we're not doing that.
So it would be almost like leaving your, looky here.
So typically, this is at the end. We have a happy owner. We've just gone through the property. We've highlighted some of the items that we just touched on, anything that they could fix, light bulbs changing.
Okay.
And the process from beginning to end.
Guys, that video was amazing.
Wasn't it fun?
It was a lot of fun watching you go through that house. I loved it.
Every time.
What would you say are the 3 things that this seller can take away from what you've done and what you've highlighted that helps them sell this property like now?
Well, number 1 is make a checklist. Make sure that the house is functioning and that light bulbs are all properly working as well.
Good
Those
idea.
are one key item.
Okay.
Number 2, also a big one, declutter.
Okay.
Definitely declutter, depersonalize both those items as well, so that a potential buyer can see themselves in the space.
Sure.
And then lastly, I would say define the space as well.
Okay.
It's easy to do a living room, dining room, or kitchen. Sometimes it's the other bedrooms or spaces that you're not quite sure what to do with.
I did. I was very impressed with that little round area that you made. It was the cutest little office.
Right. Exactly.
That was really good. I wouldn't know what to do with that space if it was mine.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So that's kind of how we did it, and it actually helped sell that home in addition to the views.
Right after the break, we're going to be introduced with some amazing technology that's helping buyers and sellers around the world. Welcome back. Jason, Matterport.
Yes.
What is this?
Oh, it's this great technology that allows buyers and sellers to be able to see a home from anywhere in the world.
Wow.
Gives you a 3D vision and view of the property. It's really great. What happens is you get this dollhouse view to begin with, and what it allows you to do is to rotate the view of the property and really zoom right on into any given space. So what happens is you're able to go right into a kitchen or a living room and pan that room and really identify what are those features that you're looking for, and you can do it from anywhere in the world. On your couch, a wife or a husband is across the country on a business trip. This allows them to see the home in real time when their spouse may be looking at it.
Wow, that's fascinating technology, but why do I really need this when I could just go to the home?
That's a great question. This is actually beneficial to the homeowner. One person comes in who is in protective gear, so it minimizes the risk to the homeowner. They take hundreds of photos of every inch of the house to create a dollhouse effect, as you can see. So really, we send this over the internet and other platforms, real estate platforms, for potential buyers. And they can actually, from the comfort of their location, take a virtual tour through the home. So one person comes into their home, to the homeowner's home, minimizing the risk.
Right.
Meanwhile, millions of people have the potential to see it from wherever they're at, which in this day and age, it's really important. We have to keep our clients safe, safety first. In addition to, of course, trying to maximize the marketing and the marketability of their home, because that's how we're going to sell it. So if somebody who's in New Jersey is looking to buy a home in Nevada, they don't actually have to travel to Nevada to walk through this home. They can virtually do it from New Jersey and save themselves the cost of a trip.
Okay.
And exposure.
Okay, I get it. I understand. One person goes into the home, thousands of people can see the home.
That's right.
That sells the house faster, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
That makes total sense. I actually just flew to Chicago and there was a 2-week quarantine. I couldn't have looked at a home. I can't afford to live in a hotel room for 2 weeks
Right.
before
I
I,
don't think
can
most
go
people-
out and try to look at a house. So I love it. It makes a lot of sense for me. Why you guys? Why should I go with you guys?
It's a great question, because staged homes sell for more money in less time. So
Amazing, I'm sold.
call us.
I'm sold.
Yes.
Guys, we're gonna have information so that you can contact Alex and Jason at the end of the show, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.